I love exercising in the backyard.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you, my grass, I ain't about to let me stop because I'm working on my grass. So let me stop. Um, but I'm also, my thing is I got neighbors that I love my neighbors, but they are my grass. I ain't about to but they are, they kind of like want to see whatever you doing. They, even if they ain't out there, if the dogs start barking, they like, oh, let me see who out here.
Oh
So
yeah.
so it's always that kind of thing. So I think we're all set and probably live. Girl, yeah. So the sun is coming in earlier, and yeah, it's been a good productive morning so far, I guess I
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah.
I didn't
I've
get
been
as much
so
writing
emotional this morning. Just full of
emotional.
happiness. Yeah. Just
Happy. Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
like super overwhelmed with this. I I don't know. I'm gonna use the word expectation because humanly that's all I know right now.
Uh-huh.
But it's just expectation of what I'm not sure. But I just kind of woke up in this space where I was just like, yes, like, yeah, like this is, I feel so good. I,
Okay.
yeah, I did like a page of I ams this morning. I just woke up like,
Okay, so then do our prayer then. I love that. A page of I ams. You know what though? I used to do this prayer actually up in front of the church. And I would say to the church, I was like, when I point at you like this, I want you to say, I am. And then I
mm,
followed it with greatness. I am. And then we would do, back and forth. And I
mm-hmm,
would
mm-hmm.
until I ran out of stuff
I
that I could
ams, right?
say. And it was always just so, so good that
Yeah,
in that I am space.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so do you want to pray or you want me to pray?
I can pray. Let's just and pray that nothing interrupts it. So yeah, I can pray. Yes.
Okay, and let me tell you this before you pray. I spent about an hour on the phone with Jessica last night, and
Yay.
Jessica's such a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a freaking blessing. She went to Chicago to see that Van Gogh thing, and
She thinks it's a good. It's a good. Is it a
she
good?
said, Sandy, she was like, I put on my gratitude list that I'm just thankful for color. Oh my
Yeah.
God, the color, the color, the color.
Yeah, I signed up for it, but the next one here is not till November. So the first
Right.
available November 5th. Yeah, and I thought about
We
that. I
should
was just like,
coordinate.
huh?
We should coordinate. We should coordinate.
Okay.
Let me know when
Yeah,
you think so I
yeah.
can buy the ticket on the same day at the
Yes.
same time.
Okay.
Yes, that
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
good.
I think it's gonna be
Okay.
so cool. And I keep
She
passing. It
was
was a
all the way to Chicago.
there's a billboard on the way home from Solon, like right there, like Van Gogh. I'm like, okay, I got
Yeah,
you. Like,
yeah, me
yeah.
too.
Oh,
So
thanks, Jessica. I was
let's get our
curious
tickets.
about
Let's
it.
get our tickets.
Yes, it's a
Let's get
deal.
our
It's a
tickets.
thing.
Yes, like today if you want to.
Yeah, because yeah, the next there's everything is sold out until November.
Right, right.
So
So
yeah,
yes,
that'll be a thing.
yes, it would be good to go with somebody else who just. And Jessica says she's going again too.
Yay! Okay,
Yes.
okay,
So
yeah.
let's
I'm
do
so
that.
glad she
Okay.
went. Thank you, Holy
And,
Spirit.
and anybody else who's watching, we'll tell y'all the date. Probably the first available one is during the day. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So thank you, all that is. Thank you, universe. Thank you for power. Thank you for the daylight. Thank you for the snow that re-cleansed our planet here in Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you for love and that more abundantly. Thank you for just being all that is. Thank you for the amazing moonlight that was out last night. I took a peek out. I had a weird night and rest. And so thank you for that. And the stars that are so sparse and scarce, I thank you that they kind of shine themselves for us this morning around 4 o'clock. And I'm just so full of gratitude. Thank you for everyone that hears this message. Thank you for Spirit, that whatever you're sharing through Sandy and I, and through everybody else who listens and uh, represents this information. Thank you so much. I thank you for life and that more abundantly. I cannot say it enough. Literally, my words just do not articulate the vibrational gratitude that I feel inside of myself in this present moment. But I thank you, and thank you for all that is, and so it is.
And so
Thank
it
you.
is. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, that wellspring of joy.
so
Yay!
happy. Yeah. Oh, today is my little brother's
Yay!
birthday. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I don't
Ah,
know. I just woke up like, yes.
yes,
I,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
So, so yes, it's a good, good morning for me and a good day for me. And then talking to Jessica was such a blessing. And then yeah, just all that and so much more is just so good. Yes.
yeah,
So coming out of that wellspring of joy, I just thank you for that prayer.
yeah. There's
And
what is
just,
that prophet, the weeping prophet? Um, it's Isaiah.
I don't know about the weeping prophet.
I think Isaiah was considered the weeping prophet, but when you study the book of Isaiah, even though he talked about the in exile and the imprisonment of the people, there was a part of him that was always celebratory. And I'm going to confirm that because I really today that as Carolyn Meese calls the archetype of the weeping prophet is all over me today because I have just, even though I've been in joy, I've been in a tear space, but not sad, like just oh, like
Yeah,
it's gonna be okay. That kind of everything's gonna be all right. It's
right,
going,
right.
this whole COVID and our planet and the,
Mhm.
just things that are happening all around us. Good things that are overshadowed by the negatives. And so anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it was just a
Sometimes I think, I can only speak, I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but sometimes I think that what tends to happen with a lot of people is they're so busy focused on what's wrong, they
life
can't
gone
see
bad.
all that's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's wonderful when, you could just kind of focus in on seeing that like I could trip on the fact that the sunlight is shining so
I
brightly in my
know.
eyes,
Six
or
or seven
I could
o'clock in the
just
morning.
yeah, or I could just say, wow, the days are already starting to increase, and which means that summer is here, and I could simply move. I could just, good morning, Erica
Good
and Tony.
morning. Good morning.
Um, yes, yes, we all do have those days. And so I love when we can just hit the reset button. And for me, I used to have
Yes.
this thing that I would do where when you learn how to be grateful just for your breath, ooh. And so I remember one day I was having like a meltdown. This was some years ago. And sometimes, you just go through that moment of meltdown, and I caught my breath. I just took my breath and I thought, oh, thank you for that, right? Because there are so many that aren't breathing or whose
Mm-hmm.
breath doesn't come easy to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so just to be in that space of gratitude is just, it could reset your whole day.
It is so
So,
true. And I
yes.
love it when it's not planned. I,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
just that thought. I mean, the only thing that was planned was me remembering today that I am spirit first.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I am spirit
Yeah.
first. And that, in itself was just that's enough.
Yeah. Hey, Stephen Boyd. Good morning to you. Yeah, so so like yesterday was one of those days where sometimes I go through this period of where I'm just trying to relax into, do I want to say to the, I want to say to the nothingness, but sometimes we are
Hmm.
so on ourselves like a slave driver, like next task, next task, next task. And so I was determined to, usually we save out a day out of the week to do that. And so I did my training yesterday morning, and I don't know how I felt about that, because when I started the training, and I had deleted out some of my slides out of the training. And this one was for a city that I have been to before. It's down in Southern Ohio. And I've been there before. And when I went there before, I looked out at the audience, and I had a couple of hundred people in the audience. Do I want to say, did they have any Blacks? It might have been one that was there that looked like it was on the janitorial staff. Look, they had one Black person in that whole city. But when you drive into the city, it's kind of like Mayberry, right?
Oh, okay. Like the Amish
So
country.
so so I knew I was doing this training for them. The training was not well attended yesterday, but since I had deleted out a few of the slides, my timing was off. And I don't know what I did to my PowerPoint, but it was advancing the slides before I was ready to advance.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
so as I did the training, I came up to the end of the training way before I was supposed to end. So say for instance, my contract is to do an hour, and I ended up at, I think, 42 minutes in, and I'm out of slides.
Wow.
So so I was just like in one of those spaces. So I was like, okay, I deleted some slides before I came in. Let me tell you what else I got to say, because I don't have this up on the screen. But then I went through, and I continued to talk up until about 58 minutes. And then I opened up for questions, and I really didn't have any questions. So I was like, okay, so that's done. And so rather than sit up and, because me, I'm one of those. I love when my presentations go just like butter, right? I want them to be like that, because I just, when a person sits down in my training, I want them to feel as if they are, yes, learning something, but at the same time just totally engaged. Like, oh, Sandra, like I know what you're talking about, because I mean that's how I am all the time. I like it to flow like that, and it didn't. And so rather than beat myself up, I was like, okay, this is just gonna be and then I had to turn around and do my radio show after that. So that didn't carry me. I like, if you come off of one high, you want to go into
Yeah,
another
yeah,
high.
yeah.
But if you,
Yeah.
I'm beating up on myself, then I
Hmm.
go and I carry that energy with me. So yesterday I was just trying to be easy with myself. Yeah, just easy with myself. So anyway, that was my day. And yes, I'm loving me some
And
me.
everything is as it should be. All
Yeah,
things are working together for our good. And you just
right,
had to wake up. I mean, you've been
right.
doing something else for almost a year. I mean, have you had some trainings though in between?
I have had a few, but not nearly like I usually do, because
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
life is
Boom, 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 boom,
popping,
boom, boom, boom.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I just And then last night after I got out of the sauna, I've got like I take like a little shower after I get out of the sauna in the basement. And I use the same soap all over my body. And I know y'all didn't tune in to listen to me talk about this stuff. It's all good. We get into it. We get into it. But I use the same soap that I used on my body. Some soap I got out of St. Lucia, and it's got this clay base to it that I love. But I put it on my face, and my face has been itching all night. And I've been trying really hard not to scratch, but I see some puffiness already in my skin. So I'm thinking that I had an allergic reaction to it. So after we got off of here, I'll go in there and try to nurse my face into, yeah, so it doesn't turn beet red all over. Yes.
Yes.
So
now enough of our humanness.
okay. So so this thing about, like you were saying, that you're a spiritual being. Is that what you said when we first started this thing, to remember that you are a spiritual being? One of the things that just dawned on me when so yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But our spiritual self is the true self, because that is that which never dies. Right? We go from this consciousness that is Stephanie, or this consciousness that is Stephen, or the consciousness that is Erica. The consciousness is what carries on, not these body suits that we wear, these suits of, I love how on Star Trek, one time they call them talking bags of mostly water. So, I love that analogy. But the meat suits that we wear do not carry on with us. They are what we use while we are here on this plane in this experience. But what we do is unlike these, our bodies keep the score, right? Our bodies become the tablet that we put all of this stress and all this other stuff that woman was working out of my body the other day. We kind of let all of that stuff attach in us, and we carry it around as if we don't know that we can forgive and release stuff. And by forgiving and releasing stuff, we can, travel a little bit more light, right? But then we carry it around as if it then becomes part of who we are. So we carry our drama from one instance to the next, from one relationship to the next, from one city to the next, from one thing to the next. We carry this drama and this trauma with us, instead of stopping and saying, you know what, I'm going to release you and leave you right here. And like, I'm so appreciative of the lesson that you came to bring me. But, this leg of my journey, you can't go, right? Because while it informs some stuff that I think about, it's too heavy for me to carry around all the time. Wait a minute. So Tony says, you need, just like everyone else, time to be human and vent. We are here for each other. That's what I just did, Tony. Amen. I just did.
That's good. It's true.
My vent, right? So thank you for that. we took the time, even if
right.
If
we were. And so, I agree with you. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
I see the spirit today as an informant, and letting it inform me of the truth.
Okay.
I think that I kind of feel like this morning, like meditation the intention of meditation for me today was just the informing me that, because all I kept hearing was like things like all is well, everything is working together for my highest good. These mantras that were just wailing up on my own after the question of what do you want me to know?
Uh-huh.
And so having that information, and I promise you, I'm a clinician by profession, so I don't ever want to come across like it's easy as 1, 2, 3. This was a getting to, but oh my God, the joy that I feel in my heart to know that people can avoid so many hurts and pains and um challenges or trials, these made up negative experiences that we make up. Like if
We
that
give them power.
Yeah, yeah, we give them power. I like that.
It,
And
it becomes our golden calf.
yeah.
You ever, I mean, because
Oh, that's so good, right?
it's so interesting because I have met so many people because of how I am, who walk in the room and this is them. They come in the room like, this is when my parent died, or this is the rape that I've experienced, or this is the abuse that I've endured. And they walk around with it just like this on them the whole time. Instead of saying, you know what, dude, I don't have to carry you everywhere. As a matter of fact, you don't have to introduce yourself first. I don't even need to introduce. I know that you're there, right? But we carry it around just like, here it
Well, it
comes.
becomes our identity, unfortunately, because we live in a society that gives its attention to negativity. We have a society that's
Oh,
drunken and induced and seduced by negativity.
right.
And so if a person, let's just say a person is lacking in attention, affection, and whatever those basic needs are as a child, if
Mhm.
this experience helps to fill up that tank, that's the experience that I'm going to bring to the forefront because the tank has to be filled.
Ah, yes.
And so it presents itself because it's actually meeting a need. It's very manipulative, not in a negative. I don't want manipulative meaning undermining, or it's just the way. It's a survival. I bring it forth because I need my tank full. But
Mhm.
when you start to understand or get the assistance or whatever support that you need to understand that you can get it filled in another way and trust it, that it's not going to leave, it's not going to
Mhm.
abandon you, it's not going to abuse you.
But so don't you think that sometimes people think that their drama is entertaining? Like, like, like for lack of something else to talk about, they talk about their drama or their trauma. You know, I I had so I got this one friend, and she finally said to me one time, it was a guy I was dating, and she finally said to me, I don't like him. And I'm sitting there like, why do you not like him? And she was like, well, from what you tell me, she goes through and she starts talking about all of this negative stuff.
Mm,
And as I listened to her, I said, oh, but mm, you don't know any of the wonderful stuff about him. And I was like, and maybe that's because what I have the conversations about is what I'm complaining about, and not necessarily the joyful stuff that,
right.
because sometimes, like Tony said, sometimes you just need to
Be
a safe
human.
space to vent,
Yeah.
you know
To be human. I agree.
right. And
Hmm.
so that was my experience. It wasn't so much that there wasn't some wonderful stuff. It was, now that I'm going through this, I need somebody to talk to about this. And I can that's a lot of times what I use my girlfriends for, to have those conversations that um I just can't talk about with myself. I need, I need, I needed someplace else to land.
And I think, well, I'll speak for myself. Hey, this is my flame again. I also think not only that, but you also are, you kind of expecting a reciprocal experience, not just landing there, but yeah, somebody to say, okay, I got you, I hear you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
So at this place where we are in our book, it talks about this idea of thinking of yourself at all times as an energy being as well as a physical being.
Mm.
And so on an energetic level, there are parts of us that is, like basically sending out and receiving in, and we are all of our thoughts. There are none of them that are small or insignificant, unimportant. All of them are. So if you are in a relationship and you are seeing yourself as a doormat, that thought does not dissipate. That thought creates more invitation to the doormat experience. And while on one level, you read it in one of Toni Morrison's books, you hear that and you totally relate to it. Like, oh my God, he comes in and he wipes his dirty feet on me and then keeps it moving. It may sound like a powerful, deep kind of resonant type of idea to share, but on the other flip side of that, how disempowering to then try to accept that as a reality for yourself. Because if the universe is saying yes to your
Yes,
thoughts,
right, right,
then you get stuck there.
right. Well, that's the cognitive dissonance.
Yes, yes, yes. And so
Yes.
yes, it becomes all of that. Um, yeah, and so people need to listen and realize you need to release. I have a friend do that for me. And so I will say to Toni that I have girlfriends. And I will tell you, growing up, I used to hear other women talk about women.
Mm.
Oh, I don't like, they got all of these things about. But I will say to you that having girlfriends have saved my life. I
Mm-hmm.
love having
My
women
God.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most powerful things is that for me, I have different friends that serve different needs. Like I got somebody that I can go to and I can just talk about life with, you know. And then if I want to talk like about my sexuality or that sensual part of Sandra, I got somebody I can do that with. I got somebody that I can talk about the spiritual stuff with. I got somebody, so everything in my life, I got people that I can go to and talk to. And those people are not always the same,
Right.
right? Because because Stephanie may not want to hear about my libido, but Kathy absolutely would. Kathy would be like sitting up there trying to pull out more out of me. Right? Oh, girl, is that all you did? Is that all you thought about? Well, why don't you go back and try? Right? And then call me. So you have friends that you pray with, you got friends that challenge you, you got friends that are on the grind, with the writing piece. You got, and to have these friends and to be a friend. Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes.
I love it when, like like even last night when I called Jessica or when I call Erica and they get that moment of like, oh, like just needing to, just needing that space where you can
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, that's so
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So
It is. It is.
yeah.
It is.
So, and Stephanie, you've got a whole posse.
You think so? I do. I'm the firstborn of almost 30 grandchildren. And so most of my posse is my family, and we are all girls, most of us. The boys all kind of hang out. But yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know if I have a whole, I guess I do have a whole posse. I take my family for granted. I do. I have one best friend, it
Okay.
like what who I would
Michelle.
call like yes, who I would call like
Mhm.
my she's my twin flame, like my soul. She is like yeah, like we are like I imagine anyway. We had a contract, definitely a soul contract to do this journey together when we connected, and neither one of us have um, ever questioned that connection at all. And then I have the same experiences with my sisters. Um, but also, there's aspects of myself that that there's other people that show up on my journey. For instance, you showed up on my journey for this part of my journey because this part of my journey has always been a part of my journey that I have kept hidden.
Mm.
And since I was about 14. And so this aspect of my journey has been hidden. And so there's new people that are showing up on this journey for me. And then I have a, yeah, I guess you're right. I have a gazillion of people. I don't lack the feeling of love. Let me just say that. I
You
don't
okay, you don't lack.
I don't lack the feeling of love or support.
Right, right.
I do not feel unloved or supported on my
And
journey.
uh-huh.
And I used to imagine that I was, especially after, by the time I was 50, I had been married 30 years. So when I was not in that position anymore, that felt so foreign and by myself. And I had the narrative that nobody gets me, nobody understands, because all the people I know that were married that years that long in my family of origin and were not with their partners, somebody had died. They didn't get the divorce. So I can say that was one time on my journey where I really felt like, hey, can't nobody get this. And so I was on that journey by myself. So yeah, I thank you for saying that. And I forgive myself for not even having an appreciation for it because I don't feel like it's a posse. Um, but when you say it and when I think, it's like, yeah, like I am so surrounded by support and they all serve a different purpose. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder.
No problem. It's interesting though, because like, say for instance, mine's like some of my girlfriends are, I don't have to talk to people every day,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I know that whenever I need, they are always there. They
Yeah.
respond.
Yeah.
And which is the same thing that I try to do too. And not just, I try to be that way for any and everybody. But one of the things is that, when I try, whenever I am called upon to go deep, and it's regardless of how deep or shallow another person may respond to me.
That's
Um,
good.
because I know, which is something that not everybody knows, I know that in my sharing, I'm not diminished. And even if you judge my stuff, right? Because sometimes people do, they will sit there and they'll look at your stuff and they'll begin to judge your stuff. Even if they judge my stuff, the value for me is in sharing it, because I feel like I have gained an experience that has blessed me, or an insight that has
That's
blessed
good.
me.
That's good.
And one of the things I tried to do is to never take anything as just happenstance. If it happens to me, it comes to me as a lesson for me to learn. And I try to suck every bit of juice out of it that I can, so
Mhm.
that I can turn around and share the experience with you. Just like I'm talking yesterday when I was talking about Dr. Clark, my professor. You know, let me look at that lesson that I learned from him, and I learned about myself and how to
Yes.
stand up, how to own my own voice. That was a good lesson. It was a deep lesson for me. um and still there are people that are our age or older that have not gotten the lesson of how to show up regardless of your estimation or your judgments about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because some people get stuck in that perfection role. You know, if it's not perfect or if there's anything, we are so caught up in judgments about, you know, not wanting to be judged, all of that stuff. We are so caught up on that.
Well, and I think that, so 90% of my clientele since I started doing what I do, so it's been about 5 years now, have been Caucasian.
Mm-hmm.
But my heart and passion has been for PTS, a post-traumatic slave syndrome,
Okay.
and because I know that we are our lives and our generation are residuals of that impact,
Mm-hmm.
and we cannot avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people have to be untrained from where they come from, because we have been taught, for whatever reason I don't know yet, because I haven't spent enough time digging and learning, we have been trained to have this form of allegiance to a belief system, to our family of origin, to the point where if it is not held tightly and firmly, then it is we wear the clothing of bad or wrong. And so to get free from that, just think about a slave in freedom and what self-esteem must look like on
Mm-hmm.
that being. Like there's an energy, an experience, a spirit. It's really not a spirit. It's a human experience that comes and it keeps recreating and recreating. And we are just starting to, you and I and people of color who are becoming more aware, we are just now allowing ourselves permission, and I'll speak for myself, allowing myself permission to be available to this experience because I am not alone
Mm-hmm.
in it.
Okay. Okay.
But there was always something, a price to pay for your Malcolm X's and your Martin Luther Kings. There was a price to pay, and the world, the powers that be, allowed us to see, if you start to think outside the box, there is a price to pay. And so the people who loved us protected us
Mm-hmm.
from that
Mm-hmm.
experience. And that's not what the preacher said, but my spirit said something, but that's not what the preacher said. But my spirit is saying something else, but that is not what the preacher said. And then, our politicians, I mean, so we started taking up our allegiance and stuff from things external. And I believe that it kept us away from the internal experiences that we are naturally inclined to have, and be like happy about it. It don't have to be so deep, but it is so much fun.
Right. You know, it's interesting when you said that, because I can remember even as a teenager sitting in church, and I would have this experience of not believing or not agreeing with what the preacher was saying.
Me too.
I'd just be sitting
Me
up there looking at him
too.
like,
Me too.
and I wanted so bad to raise my hand and say, that's not my lived experience, right? If
Yes.
you
Yes.
tell me that God is love, and then you turn around in the next moment and tell me that he just wiped out a whole city of people, or that he did this, or, I was like, those don't seem like they jive to me. I was like, So I don't know that I want that kind of love. And I don't know that that's the kind of love I experience at home. So can you tell me what you mean by love when it comes down to that context?
But then you have a whole slew of people who do experience that kind of love. The I love you, but I'm gonna beat you. I love you, but I'm gonna cuss you out. I love you, but I'm going to have all these horrible experiences, or you have these horrific experiences and say, but that person really loved you. And it's like,
Look, I could quote some of the "I told you not to" beatings. I can tell you
yeah,
about how
but
my
those
intimate
were the
relationship with this
consequences.
my intimate relationship with this tree out here, because of many days I had
You had
to
to
go
pull them.
and get my own switch and pull my own leaves off the switch so I could get my butt beat. I am intimate with that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
But that was never a kind of love that did not have recourse. Once I got my butt whooped, it was done. Get out of my face,
Mm-hmm.
right? You get out of my face, go to your room, whatever. And then the next moment, I was still loved. I wasn't ever just like, okay, I'm just going to decimate. I'm
Right.
just going to rain down hailstorm. I was like thinking to myself, like, I don't know that kind of love. And so, I was like thinking to myself that, God could learn something from my family about love. Because what I was being taught didn't seem like it. So, it's one of those things of how do we then, out of that, I never got to a place where I thought that I was wrong. I got to a place where I may not speak up about it, but I didn't get to a place where I began to doubt my own thinking, the veracity of my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So while I'm thinking it, just like when I was talking about yesterday, while I may have been thinking it in the midst of the meeting, like these idiots are not saying the obvious stuff. And of course they must see it because it seems like it's so obvious to me. But it was mine to do. It was mine to speak to. It was mine to come to the table with that. That was my epiphany. And so we all have a role to play, right? And so let me read this and then we can come back to this. So I'm just picking up in the middle of a paragraph on 58 from Anatomy of the Spirit. She says, keep in mind at all times that your biography becomes your biology. Develop the habit of evaluating the people, experiences, and information you allow into your life. Oh, do I need to say that again?
Yes.
She's developed the habit of evaluating the people, experiences, and information you allow into your life. Developing a symbolic sight begins with intention.
Yes.
Consciously and regularly evaluate your interactions and their influence on your emotional and physical power. So that is to say,
So good.
yes, that is to say that if it is something that is constantly depleting you and your energy, is making you feel as though you're powerless or not valued or not beautiful and perfect just as you are, then those are things that you need to reevaluate how much influence you allow them to have in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
so I talked a few weeks ago about a guy who was trying to tell me, going through telling me about you ain't all that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I may not be in your estimation, but I don't need you to say that. I don't even need you to feel that kind of energy when you're around me. If you don't think I'm all that, boy, bye.
Go ahead on. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that becomes one of those things of taking responsibility. But here's the catch though, Stephanie. If a person doesn't think that they're worthy of any more than that, then that means that they might just be having somebody to agree with their own estimation of themselves, right?
Isn't that what we do?
Mm, is it?
That's the synergistic experience. Like, that's how I create. And yeah.
I tell you, that's like that. I think there's a book called that. I want to see myself like my dog sees me.
Oh,
They just
that
look at
sounds
you like you're so
familiar.
perfect.
Right. Because it's
Yeah, they just look
true.
at you like you're the most beautiful thing they've ever seen, and you just perfect. Um, yeah, and there's no like needing to diminish your light or come over there and ratchet down your radiance. There's no need in that, because it's all good just to be wonderful, your wonderful
Full
self.
self. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. But it requires you to evaluate. 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 Yes. I
mhm,
agree. We must evaluate. We must not take things for granted. We must evaluate not the outside though, and but we must evaluate us. Like, what is it that I'm feeling in this space? Because my biography becomes my biology. So if I'm feeling judgment, I'm putting that inside of me. That
mhm,
experience is going to now be me. If I'm feeling lack, that is now going to be in me. So if that person gives me that energy and I'm a straw and I'm sucking it in, yeah, we got to be responsible for that
yeah,
piece.
yeah. Yeah. So, and I recognize that this conversation is not for everybody, because some people are stuck in yeah, that's just too much to think about. Yeah, that's
Oh,
just too much work to do. Some people are stuck in that. So, and then it goes on to say, and remember that if you have a private agenda,
mm-hmm.
if you have a private agenda, that is, if you want to see things in a certain way, you will interfere with your reception of energy information.
Now that is the truth.
Oh. So if you have a private agenda, I want to so let's see if we can give an example of that. Do
Jesus
you
died on the cross.
explain explain.
So the agenda was to get this person who was trying to tear up our society and change everything and make people free and not follow the rules and create all of this freedom and abundance. You got to go. How dare you change our paradigm? How dare you get people thinking
Yeah.
that they can be gods? How dare you get people thinking that they can heal the sick on the Sabbath? Like,
uh,
no, we don't get to do that. And instead of being able to see this experience as a liberation, they saw him as an enemy.
yeah. Yeah. You know, so okay, I get that, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Now, like, but here's what I was thinking. Sometimes our our private agenda is sometimes about the image that we set forth in the world.
Okay, come on, I'm listening.
So, say for instance, the image that people want others to see is, say for instance, that they got their stuff together, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want you to see them as um, walking in sync, in step, in alignment with them and their mates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or they want you to have a perception of them as successful and happy. There is all of these these ways in which we set forth an image that we want other people to see, how we want to be thought of, how we want to be perceived. And then when a person isn't acting in alignment with that imagery that they want you to see, then all of a sudden, because I'm always reminded about, there was this one lady that my dad used to date. And it was really one of those things that I happened to hear her on the phone talking to somebody. And she said to them that she had spent Christmas by herself because her kids weren't saved.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't go to their house,
Mm-hmm.
and she wasn't socializing with them because they weren't saved.
Oh,
And that
geez.
really shook me,
Oh.
because I thought to myself, what the hell is that about? And where did you get that message from? And so sometimes we go and, I'm not trying to attack churches, but sometimes we go to church and they'll tell you to not entertain people that are ungodly or unchurched, and not only do we listen to that, then all of a sudden we start basing our relationships on that.
Yeah, you become isolated and more vulnerable to more rhetoric.
Yeah. And so it becomes this thing of really sometimes checking even that, when it says check the energy, right? We
Yeah.
got to develop a habit of evaluating people, experiences, and information. That's information. How does that information jibe with you? Does that sound like it would be something that we should do? That, one of the things that I got out of Miriam Williamson talk was, she talked about in the Course in Miracles, there is this spot where it says that many conspire with God that don't know God,
Mm-hmm.
which is so good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if we are judging a person by their actions, right? And even when we judge a person by their actions, right? But if we're judging a person by their actions, sometimes people who are unsaved or atheists do things that are more loving than people who consider themselves quote unquote a Christian or something else. They wear around these badges. They got the, what did Jesus say? They sit in high places and walk around with the big robes on,
Robes
try to
on.
make
Mm-hmm.
themselves so important. But what they are doing is that they separate off people, which is the exact opposite of what we ought to be doing, which is bringing people together.
Together. Exactly.
Figuring out how to love in spite of what I see. Look beyond my faults and see me, right? Look beyond this and see what God meant, for me to be, instead of all of that other stuff you get caught up in. So, so sometimes we have to be about the business of that, because even Jesus fraternized with people who were unsavory, that other people thought, oh, why are you talking to that woman? The tax collectors or whoever, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
about, what's the point in the whole thing anyway, if you are not letting your light shine?
Yeah. And talk about an energy. If I can get into a space with somebody that's supposedly a sinner or whatever, and I feel more love in that space than I do with a Pharisee who is judging my thoughts and my statements. And I got to make sure that I'm having the correct language or lingo. Well, I'm more relaxed in a place where somebody is quote unquote unsavory, because this feels like openness, and it feels available, and it feels, I'm curious. Curiosity, I love curiosity. That's what I do every day. I'm constantly curious. Curiosity opens you up too. And so, yeah, it's an energy source that we do need to be mindful of. I was raised a Jehovah Witness, and anybody that knows what a JW is, I don't have to say anymore about that. But my father was moved from Kingdom Hall to Kingdom Hall to Kingdom Hall because he asked too many questions, and he questioned everything. He questioned everything. And he was, I don't know if what it was considered maybe an elder in the church, but anyway, he would give these talks and he would study. And my father had books everywhere, just studying concordances and everything. And so then next thing I know, we were moving from this hall to the next hall to the next hall. And I don't know what I imagined, but later find out it's because he questioned everything. He questioned. And then as I got older, he would say to my sister and I, the truth is a lie. Like, because the Jehovah's Witness was considered the truth. And to be told the truth is a lie. So now we got to go and undo all of the doings that we learned. But it kept you so bound. When my parents divorced, they were excommunicated, no communication. They were, put out of the organization. And thank goodness my mom had a really big family. My dad doesn't. So I don't know what his journey was like after that. But my mother has a huge family, so she could get the love and support of that, because you dedicate your whole life, you leave your whole family to be a part of this place, and then the minute you do something inappropriate that they deem wrong, you're now excommunicated. And what do you do with that? What do you do with that experience? You know?
And that's powerful. That is because, first off, kudos to your dad, right? Because it takes courage to say, you know what? I do that. I do an about face regularly. That's why I know it takes courage to be like, it's like one of those Forrest Gump moments, right? Forrest Gump is jogging across the country, and then all of a sudden he stops, and everybody's looking around like, what? And he was like, oh, I think I'm gonna go home now. And people out there like, man, we've been following you for all of this time, and we thinking that you on a mission from
you're going
God
somewhere.
to this vision and all of this stuff. We made t-shirts and selling
so good. I love it.
And all of a sudden you just stop and we turn around and you going home? Dude, you got all these followers out here and you going home?
Oh, that's so good. Pay attention to symbolism. I am paying attention this morning. That was really good. Forrest Gump.
Yes. And so that in itself takes courage and is big, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's big to question, especially when you got all these fish swimming in one direction, and you're gonna say, wait, stop, hold up, let me ask the question, let me get this straight. So that there's a power in the questioning and the evaluation. And then to say to my family, ooh, I was wrong. Y'all, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And instead of me continuing to live this lie, I need to come full stop and then turn and go in another direction. And I'm sure that as a family, you were confused because you all in when dad is all in.
Right. There's so much confusion, but that's a whole nother topic. But there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot that goes into it, disempowering and empowering. But it's like got to reconstruct your whole belief system.
And
sometimes programming.
And you see that go on sometimes in the Catholic Church, because they have done these all of a sudden this the color, yeah, it was green, but now it's red.
Yes, I gotta grab this.
Okay, yeah.
Very fun.
And so a lot of times what you see is that these shifts in consciousness can throw people for a loop. And when you're thrown for a loop, because now you no longer know how to think or how to process information, then that too can have people in a disconcerted kind of way. Um, and sometimes, depending upon who you are, you feel this level of embarrassment or responsibility. And especially if you don't understand it in order to be able to communicate it, then that leaves you at a space where you are really trying to figure it out still. So, and so all of that can interfere with what it is that we are doing in our lives, right? It can interfere with how you see yourself, how you show up in the future, because you take that self with you. And there's a certain insecurity about, if I was wrong that time, could I be wrong this time? I mean, we see this a lot, especially with people we see it a lot with people in relationships, right? I was just told by somebody, it seems like just within the last week, that they no longer trusted themselves to make decisions about a partner because they had been so wrong in the past. They had chosen wrong and so deeply invested even in an idea or a thought that this was the one, that this was, that this was going to be, and then really felt insecure about the choices going forward. Do I have the ability to discern for myself what is for my highest and best good? And so all of those things become a part of this thing. When she talks about the private agendas, it becomes a part of the reckoning that we have to go through within our own consciousness to say, could this be? Is this right? Is this for me, or is it not? Or whatever the questions that you start to ask yourself is. But so here today, we were sharing the idea to think of yourself as an energy being as well as a physical being. And when you think of yourself as an energy being, knowing that in truth, none of this stuff has the ability um, to to attach itself to you in eternity. But while you are in these physical suits, these ideas and thoughts, if not carefully considered, can cause you a lot of pain and illness and all that other stuff. So we've got to learn how to forgive and how to release, how to travel lightly through this thing called life. And sometimes that is what it is about, just learning how to not carry all of this junk with us wherever we go. Because, what's that song? Bag Lady, Bag Lady. I forget what the words are, but it's kind of like that. You being a bag lady or a bag man that's carrying drama and trauma and stuff with you forward. So whether it's you believe that people are always doing you wrong or mistreating you or cheating on you, sometimes we carry that from one relationship to another without healing it. And so it becomes this thing of really being about the business of evaluating what you're carrying around. I might be one of those people that, pulls out this thing and say, ooh, am I carrying around this rape with me? Am I carrying around this, this person who cheated on me? Am I carrying that forth? And if I see it, like say for instance, I think that I'm outrunning it, but if I look over my shoulder and see it, then I know that it's time that I need to stop and address it and say, look, you can't come with me. I got to leave you behind. I gotta move on without you, so that I can go into the next adventure of my life without all that bag lady stuff, without all that all that judgment, all of that scarcity thinking, without all of that, even before I get started, already thinking that this is doomed. Get rid of the ideas that people lie. Let me check myself. And that's what I think each and every one of us has to do. Check yourself. What are your ideas and your expectations? Because sometimes we see stuff that's not even there because it's the ghost of our past. It says the past isn't the past. It is, what is it? The past hasn't passed because if it's right here, right now, right? If you keep bringing it into your present, it's not the past. It's your present. And so how do we get rid of that? How do we got to stop and deal with it? Like, dude, or girl, you can't come with me, right? I experienced you, I got the lesson, and now I got to go, right? I thank you for what you came to bring, but I gotta leave you here. That's yeah, and that's the beauty. You got the experience, so you know what it looks like. You know what it's going to be like even before you get there. You got that experience, and so now you can just say thank it for what it came to teach you, and just leave it behind. All right, you guys, I'm gone. I'm leaving. I'm getting off of here because I've got I still have an agenda, stuff I got to do. And Stephanie may be, she's working at the same time she's on here most of the time. So there she is. Yes, I was just saying my farewells.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So yes, thank you for being here. Yay.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Um yeah. Yeah.
I
So
appreciate this moment, just so you know. I just appreciate it. Then thank you.
oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Joy bells. Joy
Yes. Joy bells are ringing. Yes.
bells. Yay. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, so yes, all of this is good. So we're going to try to tomorrow is Friday. So maybe we'll try to close out this particular section
Yes.
and then move on. Oh, well, wait a minute. Let me shut up. I just turned the page.
Sunday. By Sun.
Okay. So on Sunday, we're going to move into chapter 2.
I don't know, Sandy.
Huh?
I
You
don't
don't
know.
know.
Look at this.
'Cause we're actually only on
We
58, but
can
I'm wondering
do.
if we can get through these ideas. You know what? So I really like to hang loose. So we'll see if we can get through them. And if not, if there's something that we need to double down on, so be it.
Yeah.
But it's dependent upon what comes up. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, I just love this ability, this space that we can have this conversation. So thank
Mm-hmm.
you. I'm
Thank you.
honored. So the light of God surrounds you.
Yes.
The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you wherever you are.
Mm.
Mm. This wholeness of God is, I mean, in its fullness, the full power of God is right where you are. All you have to do
What
is
is
just
that?
have a
Right?
shift in your consciousness where you thought you were alone. You could just be like, just like that thing I had on my shoulder is
Mhm.
always right where you are. All right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
blessings to you going
Yes.
forth and have an amazing day.
Happy Thursday.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Bye. See you later. Bye. I just love this. I love y'all. All right. Take care. Have an amazing day.